Long ago, in the heart of the Igala Kingdom, a great storm brewed, not of rain or thunder, but of war. The air was thick with fear, and the once vibrant and bustling village now seemed cloaked in an eerie silence, as if the land were holding its breath. The sound of approaching war clung to the harmattan breeze, carrying with it the memories of past battles and the cries of the fallen. For weeks, whispers of the approaching Benin warriors had traveled on the wind. These whispers grew louder each day, filling the hearts of the villagers with dread. The once thriving land lay bare, its streams poisoned and its fields barren from minor skirmishes. Their reputation preceded them. These warriors marching from the east are ruthless, powerful, and unstoppable. Tales of their conquests and the devastation they left in their wake are known far and wide. King Odumu, the king of the Igala Kingdom, known for his wisdom and strength, felt a tremor of fear for his people. He had faced many challenges, but this was unlike any other. Their very existence was threatened. The villagers gathered, their faces etched with worry, seeking solace in each other's presence. He knew he had to act, but what could be done against such a formidable enemy? The burden of his kingdom's future weighed heavily on him. King Odumu walked restlessly in his chamber, his mind filled with various strategies and alliances, yet none felt adequate. Insomnia plagued him as he considered countless possibilities to alter his kingdom's course. Most times, he found himself gazing into emptiness, seeking answers that felt really close yet elusive. He dreaded the thought of a conflict resulting in bloodshed, where the looming storm would devastate his people. "My kingdom is on the brink of collapse, plagued by war from invaders. The people look to me for salvation, but I have no solutions," thought the king. Their unwavering trust in him fueled his resolve. He knew he couldn't betray them. He needed to discover a path forward, a lasting solution. Desperate, King Odumu sought the guidance of the oracle, the voice of the gods. He turned to the one source of wisdom that had never failed his ancestors. With a determined spirit, King Odumu resolved to protect his kingdom, whatever it took. So, in the middle of the night, the king traversed the dense forests and rugged terrain, driven by the hope that the oracle would provide the answers he desperately needed. After meeting the mysterious oracle, the king submitted his request and asked for a way out of this impossible situation. Following a prolonged silence, the oracle spoke to the king, the voice resonating in the cave. "To rescue your kingdom, O king, the gods require a sacrifice. Not gold or grain, but the blood of the living. They seek the blood of your beloved daughter, and they demand the dance of the airless tomb." They spoke of a great sacrifice, one that would demand the purest of hearts to be buried alive in an airless tomb after a ritual dance. King Odumu stumbled back, aghast. The chilling message from the oracle had shattered his resolve, leaving him reeling under the weight of the decision he now faced. The king left the oracle's shrine with this impossible choice before him. The lives of his people hung in the balance, and the cost of their salvation was a price he was not sure he could pay. As a king and a father, the burden of such a sacrifice was too heavy to bear. The thought of sacrificing an innocent life was unbearable, and his already weary heart shattered into a million pieces. Yet the fate of his people depended on it. The oracle's words echoed in his ears, each one piercing like a spear deep into his soul. He could not escape the gravity of the prophecy or the responsibility it placed upon him. Determined to change his destiny, King Odumu scoured the entire kingdom, reaching out to all who had ties to the gods and begging for another option. Yet, he was met with the same heartbreaking response every time. The gods were resolute. The cost of saving her was the life of his dear Oma. He returned to his palace with the weight of the oracle's decree heavier than any crown, knowing that the days ahead would test his resolve and humanity. For several days, the king refused to eat or drink, and soon the news began to spread throughout the kingdom. Princess Oma, the king's only daughter, was fondly called Oma Ufedo Baba and was celebrated throughout the realm for her kindness and gentle nature. Her presence was a beacon of hope and joy, a symbol of the kingdom's prosperity and peace. Every smile she shared and every kind word she spoke brought comfort to those around her. When the princess heard that the king was not eating or drinking, she quickly rushed to her father's chamber to find out the cause and plead with him to eat. Seeing the once elegant king looking depressed, Princess Oma, wise beyond her years, knew something was terribly wrong from the sorrow in her father's eyes. After days of desperate pleading, she uncovered the prophecy and the cost of peace. Her heart ached for her father and her people. The burden of the kingdom's future bore down on her. She understood the seriousness of the situation, with the kingdom's survival hanging by a thread. The prophecy was clear, and the required sacrifice was her life. In the quiet solitude of her chamber, Princess Oma made her decision. She reflected on her life, her responsibilities, and the love she had for her people. Her resolve was unwavering. Her spirit remained unbroken. She knew that her decision would bring peace and prosperity to her beloved kingdom. Her life, though precious, paled in comparison to the lives of her entire kingdom. She would do it. She would face her fate with the same grace and dignity she had shown throughout her life. Her resolve is firm. The fate of the kingdom rests on her shoulders, and she will not let them down. With the support of her people and the strength of her convictions, Princess Oma prepares to fulfill her destiny. The news of Princess Oma's decision spread like wildfire through the kingdom. People wept openly, their hearts breaking at the thought of losing their beloved princess. Yet, there was also an undercurrent of awe, a sense of profound respect for her selfless sacrifice. She embodied courage, a beacon of hope in their darkest hour. The next day, Princess Oma chose to spend her time in the bustling market square. She was accompanied by her loyal maids who adored her deeply. "Look, it's Princess Oma. May the gods bless her," whispered a child. Oma's radiant smile lit up the market as she selected beads, fabrics, and fruits. One of her maids said, "My princess, this coral necklace would suit you perfectly." Princess Oma giggled softly and replied, "Then we shall take it. Each of you must also choose something beautiful for yourselves." Princess Oma spent her last night surrounded by her maids, sharing stories and songs of their childhood. They laughed and cried, their bond deepening in the face of impending loss. She gifted them tokens of her affection, small trinkets that carried the weight of her love. Her heart ached with the pain of parting, but her resolve never wavered. She embraced her fate, finding solace in the knowledge that her sacrifice would save her people. The next morning, Princess Oma, draped in white robes, walked barefoot with soft but steady steps towards the market square. The air was heavy with sorrow, the silence broken only by muffled sobs. She looked at the faces of her people, etched with grief, but also a glimmer of hope, and a calmness settled over her. She was ready. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Princess Oma stood before the altar, prepared to perform one last dance before she departed. King Odumu, his face a mask of grief, held himself back from stopping the sacred rites, his voice choked with emotion. He loved his daughter more than words could express, but he loved his people too. The weight of his decision threatened to crush him, yet he knew deep down that Oma's sacrifice was the only way. At the moment of her sacrifice, a hush fell over the kingdom. She stood firm in her meant-to-be grave as the earth covered her body. The villagers watched in silence, their hearts breaking as they bid farewell to their beloved princess. Her final moments were deeply engraved into the hearts of everyone present and never to be forgotten. She had bought them peace with her own life, her selfless act forever etched in the annals of Igala history. Days later, the main army of Benin warriors approached, prepared to launch an attack. However, as they drew near the kingdom, they encountered a shocking sight. The entire town was engulfed in walls of flames. The heat at the entrance was unbearable, keeping them from moving closer. Initially baffled, they speculated that someone might have set the kingdom ablaze before their arrival. The attackers made several attempts to penetrate the fiery barriers, but suffered heavy losses among their warriors. Overwhelmed and frightened, they ultimately retreated without accomplishing their goal, allowing the Igala people to rebuild in peace. The gods had honored Oma's sacrifice. King Odumu mourned. He had saved his kingdom, but at what cost? He was haunted by the image of his daughter's final moments, her bravery in the face of death. He would carry the weight of her sacrifice for the rest of his days, a constant reminder of the price of peace. Yet, he knew he had to be strong, for his people needed him now more than ever. He would honor Oma's memory by ruling with wisdom and compassion, striving to build a kingdom worthy of her sacrifice. He would ensure that her death was not in vain, and that Igala would flourish in the peace she had bought with her life. Her memory would be his guiding light, her courage, his inspiration. Princess Oma's story became a legend, passed down through generations. She became a symbol of selflessness, courage, and love. Mothers told her story to their children, instilling in them the values she embodied. She was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope can blossom, and even the smallest act of courage can change the course of history. The people of Igala never forgot her sacrifice. They built a statue in her honor, a place of pilgrimage where they could pay their respects and remember her bravery. Her story became an integral part of their cultural identity, a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit. Even today, centuries later, Princess Oma's legacy lives on. Her name is whispered with reverence. Her story is a source of inspiration. She reminds us that true leadership lies in service and sacrifice, and that love for one's people can inspire extraordinary acts of courage. In a world often defined by conflict and strife, Princess Oma's story reminds us of the importance of peace and the sacrifices required to achieve it. It is a story that transcends time and culture, a timeless tale of love, duty, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Thank you for watching. If you've been inspired by this true story of love and sacrifice, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating African stories.